Hey everybody, welcome. We are back with Japanese from Zero. I think my music might be, nope, a little bit too loud. Sorry about that. We are back, Japanese from Zero. We're going to be doing, I just coughed a lot right before we started, so my throat's a little bit scratchy. I got some tea going down the wrong part of my throat. We're going to be doing a workshop again through lesson 8 new verbs, and I'm going to try something really cool this time that we haven't done before. Welcome. All right, the song should be over in just a moment. All right, so welcome to the live stream. Now, I want you to get a pen and paper ready, because at the end, when I give you the answer to the intro quiz that we do, which you should be able to do after you've finished the lesson, you should be able to do it all. I'm gonna have to give you some new verbs that you might not know, even though we just went through a bunch of verbs in the lesson, okay? Now, I want you to write it down, and then we're gonna try to figure it out. So we're gonna start with turning off the music, and then we're gonna jump to some sage advice, 3 pieces of advice that you might not be able to translate, but this is the challenge. Here we go. First one is this.
負けたときは泣かない。勝ったときは威張らない。
Second one is this.
宝くじが当たったときは喜ぼう。人に当たったときは謝ろ
And the third advice is this.
う。いらないものを捨てよう。必要なものは迷わないで買おう。
Now, these 3 advices we will discuss at the end. And then after that, for those of you that tried, I have a special thing to give all of you. All right, here we go. All right, course 4, lesson 8, new verbs. Let's do it. If you are following along with the book, which a lot of you do, you can get that book. If you're following along, you already have the book. For those of you that don't have the book, you can get it here. Amazon's probably the most popular. But if you live in countries outside of where Amazon delivers, you can get the book from Book Depository, which is strange because it's owned by Amazon and you think they could deliver. All right. Excuse me. New verbs. So we're going to go through these verbs. You might know some of them, but it's really important when you learn new verbs to know how to use their particles, because without particle usage, you're going to say something different sometimes. All right. So here's our first verb.
勝つ
So katsu means to win or to beat. Not to beat like punching somebody, but to beat somebody in a game or in a contest, okay? And it is a regular verb. What does that mean? If you're new to Japanese from Zero, you might not know what that means. You might have come to Japanese thinking about what is a u verb or a ru verb. Well, we don't use those confusing naming conventions because there's a video that I'll link. I'll try to link at the end. It's why ru verbs is a bad naming convention. But this is what we call a regular verb. A regular verb is any verb that ends in anything but a ru, and also it can end in a ru. It can end in anything. Every other verb type can only end in a ru. Interesting. All right. So this is katsu. It's regular. Therefore, in order to conjugate it, we go into the E form plus the stem. For example, I will win is kachimasu. Kachimasu. If I won't win, kachimasen. I want to win, kachitai. So tachitsute to, we go up to the E form. All right, moving on. Excuse me. All right, the opposite.
負ける
Makeru means to lose. To lose. And what form do you think this is? Anyone in the chat? It's going to be delayed, so I won't see your answer until after I've displayed it. But this is an iru-eru verb. Does it mean that any verb that looks like this is iru-eru? No. Any verb that rhymes with eru, keru, makeru, rhymes with eru, or iru, can be an iru-eru verb. They aren't always necessarily, but it's safe to assume that they are. And the way that those work is, to conjugate them, you minus the ru. You drop the ru and add your stem. So it would be makemasu or makemasen. I won't lose, or I will lose. Now, if you mess up and say makerimasu, it's absolutely wrong. It will not make sense to anybody. They will not understand what you're saying. All right, so now that we know them, let's see how they're used now. Both of these verbs use the exact same particle usage, okay? So let's do it. Here's all 4 of them. Take this, put this up for your screenshot. We're gonna go through each one of them. There, screenshot, got it? Moving on. All right, here we go. So number plus counter, or number with a counter, katsu and makeru. You do not use a particle in between here. If you're talking about some sort of object, you use a particle. But here we're talking about an amount. And amounts do not use particles. This is true for every verb, okay? If you remember back to course 1, lesson 10, I believe, when we talk about give me something, right? I'm just going to, a little bit of review here because it's been a while, guys. If you say, for example, give me glasses, okay? Megane o kudasai. The o is there because that's the object that you're asking for, right? Megane o kudasai. Please give me glasses. But if I just said give me one, and the topics or the subject or the object is already known, and we're not restating it, I just say give me one, hitotsu kudasai. You wouldn't say hitotsu o kudasai. Keep that in your brain. Never use, I'm not going to say never, but in these cases where you're using it directly with a verb, you do not use a particle when you're using a counter directly with the verb. All right, here we go. What does this mean? Everyone in the chat, I want you to, if you're late to the live stream or you didn't watch it live and you're just watching it after the fact, say this out loud. This is what we've always done, so you don't cheat. You will cheat. You'll go, oh, I knew that. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. No, say it out loud. Be accountable to yourself. What is this?
500円負けました。500円負けました。
Okay, notice, 500yen, that is a counter. And what do we have 500 of? 500 yen. Notice it's not yen, it's en. En, okay? So 500 en, not 500 yen. That's just what we say in English. All right, what does it mean? I lost 500 yen. Yes, you got it right. Good job.
500円負けました。
And next one.
1000ドル勝ちたいです。1000ドル勝ちたいです。
What is that? Notice again. Now we're just happening to use money here, but it makes sense when you're winning an amount. It's got to be money, right? You could say, I want to win one if you wanted to. You know, 一つ勝ちたいです, but we're doing it with a dollar amount.
1000ドル勝ちたいです。
Okay, we're very close. Some of you are saying, I want to win $1,000. And one of you said, I won $1,000. No. I won $1,000 would be 1000ドル勝ちました. But we want to win is tai form, right? 勝ちたいです. All right? E form plus tai is how to say I want. How would you say, just a quick bonus quiz, how would you say I wanted to win $1,000? Guys, this is level 3 stuff. You should be able to do this. I wanted to win $1,000. By the way, for those of you who don't know, oh no, that's Korean. God dang it. They're both the same color. This is where the Thai stuff is, okay? This is where the Thai stuff is. Or if you're on the course on FromZero.com, it's in course 3. What we are right now in this book right here, okay? All right. Got it? 勝ちたかったです. You got it, Japanizer. 1000ドル勝ちたかったです. I wanted to win $1,000. So this one, though, is not past tense. We didn't make it past tense, so it's just 勝ちたいです. All right, moving on. All right, now we're going to use the particle de to say the way that you want it, okay? The way that you want it, how you want it, okay? The by which means marker.
パチンコで500円負けました。パチンコで500円負けました。
Now, if you've never been to Japan, you might not know what pachinko is. Pachinko is this Japanese, they call it Japanese pinball, but it's nothing like pinball. I mean, gosh, young children, you guys, I say young children, you might be 30 and you might didn't even know what pinball is. Pinball is this game where you like have a little thing where you pull back a spring-loaded like shooter and it shoots a ball up into this game and it hits all these pins and then it, you know, you have like these little buttons on the side and you prevent it from going down into the hole. You know, they have the similar thing in Japan, but it's tons of balls, just little tinier balls, and you have this little spinner thing, and that determines the amount of pressure that the balls come out. Okay, if you go to Japan, definitely play pachinko. It's super fun. If you win, it's still weirdly mesmerizing because all these balls are just like, and they're shooting like rapid fire, and this makes it set how much power it sets to, and once it goes up there, it comes into hits all the pins, and there's nothing you can do beyond that point. It's all pure luck. The only amount of control you have with pachinko is this, okay? And then what happens is if it gets into a special spot, you get a bunch of balls pop out, okay? So you take these balls at the end, you'll see people with stacks and stacks of balls. okay? Stacks in like these clear container things. And then what they do is they'll go up to the front with them. And you know what? It might be different after Corona. It's possible it's different now where maybe it's all ticketed, but it used to be very physical. I'm hoping it still is because that's the fun part. And they take all these balls and they pour them into this counter and it counts them all. And then they give you a ticket or they give you some sort of golden medallion thing. Okay. Now there's prizes I'm gonna take a moment. Sorry. There's prizes at the front, right? And I don't know if you know this, but gambling is illegal in Japan, but pachinko parlors, you win money. How do you win money when gambling's illegal? Well, little bit of a loophole in the law is they will give you these coin medallions that nobody on earth really wants, except for this really tiny shop, maybe in the alley next to them. And if you ever get these and you walk to the I think it's called the Kokanjo or the Ryogaijo, or I think it's Kokanjo, the exchange place, you're gonna go down this little dark alley where like ninjas could pop out and like all sorts of yakuza could be. You don't know what's gonna happen. It's scary. And then there's this little window and your face can't be seen and you can't see their face and you push the medallions in and they give you they buy them back from you. That's how they get through the law of allowing gambling in Japan is they buy you didn't win anything. You want a prize, which is legal. And then there's a place next door that happens to buy the prize. And then what they do is they take that prize, that little other company, and they sell it back to the pachinko parlor. So it's this circular thing that allows it to be legal. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on. So what was this?
パチンコで500円負けました。
I lost 500 yen at pachinko. That could be anything in front of the day, in front of the particle de. All right. Moving on. What's this?
ポーカーで1000ドル勝ちたいです。
Never really played poker.
ポーカーで1000ドル勝ちたいです。
I just gave you the answer. ポーカーで1000ドル勝ちたいです. I want to win $1,000 at poker. I think the day one's easy, right? Think we got it. Moving on. Okay. Now you can win or lose a thing, and that is marked with ni. That might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but it's marked with ni. Let's see how that works.
絶対試合に勝つ。絶対試合に勝つ。
Now, if you don't know 絶対, you can ignore that just for a second. That is just an adverb. That's just a thing that you say. But what does 試合に勝つ mean? All right. It means I'm going to win at the match. And the zettai means definitely, absolutely. And sometimes you'll see a ni after there. It's not required. You'll see zettai ni, right? But you don't, that means absolutely or definitely. Okay. But I didn't put it in this one because I didn't want to confuse anybody.
絶対試合に勝つ。
Okay. I'm definitely going to win the match. The thing that you're going to win, not the item you're going to win, but the thing that you're going to beat is the match. Okay. Next one, what is this? A little bit more complicated. I'm going to look to everybody in the stream.
友達との賭けに負けた。友達との賭けに負けた。
Hey, Nanj, you can be here no matter what book you're in. You will learn something today that isn't in book 3. And even if you forget it, you might have some sort of like in the back of your head, it might be there when you get to book 4. You'd be like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this. Oh, that's right. All right. So let's see. Japanizer says, I lost in something with a friend. What's that something? Now this is where you get your notebook out and you write this word because you might not know this word.
友達との賭けに負けた。
Okay, I lost the bet with my friend. Yeah, I lost the bet with my friend. Yes. Perfect. I lost a bet with my friend. So I only wanted to show you these different colors here, just to show you that this is one of those double particle things. It's what bet was it? It was a bet with my friend, and it's linked with this no, right? I bet with my friend. You want to do it that way. Tomodachi to no kake. What bet was it? Tomodachi to no kake. If you said tomodachi no kake, it would just mean a friend's bet. I lost a friend's bet. But this is I lost a bet with a friend, okay? All right, one more time.
友達との賭けに負けた。
All right, moving on to the fourth and final. Now, this is the same. It's another ni. It's to win or lose to somebody. Okay, what does this mean?
あなたに勝てないです。 あなたに勝てないです。
Now, this form of the verb, katenai, is a book 3 lesson, I believe, on potential. Potential form. What does potential form mean? I hate using words like that. It just means can do, can't do. So katenai means can't beat or can't win. Okay? Some of you are saying, I won't lose to you. Nope. That would be makenai, right? But this is, I can't
あなたに勝てないです。
beat you. I can't beat you. It's not going to happen. You're too good. Okay? All right. All right, moving on. What's this one? Okay, a little bit more challenging.
川村さんだけに負けたくないです。川村さんだけに負けたくないです。
Now, this is going to be one of those sentences. We talk about this a lot more in book 5, but as your Japanese improves and gets higher level, there are times where your Japanese, when you translate it to English, if you try to take every word literally, it's going to be weird. And it's the same way going backwards. If you take everything in the Japanese sentence, it's going to be weird into English sometimes. Your goal is to make your Japanese natural from whatever English they throw your way and the other way around. So sometimes that means you've got to add a word or two that wasn't in the original. And sometimes it means you delete a word or two. Okay? So we know Kawamura-san's easy. That's a person, right? Right? If you want to, what is it like? River Village, Mr. River Village, if you want to actually translate it. But it's just Mr. Kawamura. What about it? Dake. Dake means only. Maketakunai desu. If we don't have the ni here, this is so important. If it was just Kawamura-san dake maketakunai desu, it means only Kawamura-san doesn't want to lose. That's weird. You would think everybody on the team wouldn't want to lose. Maketakunai means don't want to lose. I don't want to lose. In this case, if we had no ni there, it's only Kawamura-san doesn't want to lose. All of us, we want to lose. That would be weird, right? Okay, what does the ni do? Let's get rid of the dake just for a second. Let's get rid of the dake and just look at Kawamura-san ni maketakunai desu. I don't want to lose to Kawamura-san. To Kawamura. Or I don't want to lose. Yeah, that's it. I don't want to lose to Kawamura. Now, what does the dake do? If we do that direct translation, it's only to Kawamura-san do I not want to lose. But how would you make that better? Now, this is a little bit hard. How would you make that a little bit better in English? I'm going to play it one more time and I'm going to show it to you.
川村さんだけに負けたくないです。
I don't want to lose to Kawamura over all others. See, he doesn't mind losing. Losing can happen, but not to Kawamura. Out of everyone, no, above all others, I don't want to lose to Kawamura. And this is where you have to kind of, this is a difficult one. Other ones are easier, I think, when you're doing those switching outs. But this one is what I would translate this to if I was doing some sort of sub work, some sort of subtitle work, which I don't do typically unless it's my own video. All right, so that is makeru and katsu. We've got a few more. And then remember, we're going to get to the very end. And we're going to go over that advice that I gave you in the very beginning, okay, which I handcrafted and confirmed with my wife that the Japanese is correct, okay? And then we're going to talk about grammar. We're going to talk about new verbs. And then there's going to be a special thing after that. So hang around, all right? And by the way, comment, please. Commenting helps the video out a lot. But don't comment for no reason. Comment for some reason. And I'll respond to as many of the comments as I can. All right, here we go. So, ataru.
Ataru.
Okay?
Ataru.
What does this mean? This has several meanings. To win. I thought we already had to win. It was katsu. To hit. Okay. To strike. Now that, to be correct. This is a little bit tricky, right? Because do you mean like to hit a jackpot or to hit a person? Let's find out. All right. What type of verb is this? It ends in a ru. Can this be an iru eru verb? Everyone in the live stream. Can ataru or is ataru an iru eru verb? All right. I gotta wait for the delay. We'll see. Okay, someone's saying godan. Yes, that is the official title that the Japanese call it. It's a 5-step verb if you want to go. I didn't like using the godan naming. There's ichidan and godan. One means 1 step and one means 5 steps. I didn't like that because it felt like me there should be a 2-step, a 3-step, and a 4-step, right? And it's too much to think about. It can never be iru eru. It can never be an iru. It could never just drop the ru and say atamasu. Why? Really simple. It doesn't rhyme with iru or eru for the last two sounds. If it was ateru, which is a verb, ateru is a verb, looks just like this, but it's got a te instead. That is an iru eru verb. This is a regular because it ends in a ru, but it doesn't have an e or an s sound before it. Therefore, it can, I'm not going to say it can only be, but 99 times out of 100, this type of verb is going to be regular, which just means it's a godan, like we just said, 5 steps. And what are those 5 steps? It means that it conjugates through the 5 hiragana. Okay, it goes E form, F form, O form for all of its forms. You should know that by now if you've been through the other books, okay? All right. It is regular, which means it's E form. So if we want to say, I will win, I will hit, or it will hit, atarimasu, atarimasu. All right, moving on. We have something ga ataru. That means to be hit with a thing or to win a thing. And that's where you've got to be better with your sentence creation. We're going to have a sentence that's a bad one in one of my examples just to kind of teach that point, okay? Because if you just say the random thing ga ataru, you wouldn't know what that means without more context, all right? And something ni ataru means you hit into something. You're driving your car and you hit into something, okay? You bumped into something, okay? All right. Or to win a game of chance. A game of chance is very important because katsu is where you're trying to win. Ataru is where you just win. Okay, we'll see what that means looking ahead right here. Here we go. First one. What does this mean?
航空券が当たった。航空券が当たった。
Bonus if you know what kokuken means. I also think that's in book 3. Kokuken means airline ticket. You know that Japan's opened up now. After years of not being open for the pandemic, now it's open. You can go to Japan again. Kokuken ga atatta. Wouldn't it be amazing if you won an airline ticket? Not just ticket, won an airline ticket. Yes, you guys are getting it right. Good job, right? If you won an airline ticket. So now this sentence, because ataru can mean also literally to hit, it could mean the airline ticket hit me. But that's weird, right? Like unless someone threw an airline ticket at you, which who even has physical tickets anymore? It wouldn't happen, okay? Next sentence. What does this mean?
車が当たった。車が当たった。
Get your notepad ready. Open up your phone notepad. Get a physical notepad. I'm going to teach you 2 new verbs. All right, we have, okay, this is good. Noyavi says, I hit a car. Okay, that would actually have to be kuruma ni atatta, by the way. I won a car. Possible. I was hit by a car. Also possible. So here's the problem. This is a bad sentence. Kuruma ga atatta is a bad sentence because normally there's other verbs. Write these 2 down and then look them up, okay? Tell me what you find. Butsukaru, butsukaru, and butsukeru. Butsukeru. Look those 2 up, okay? That would be used to talking about a car hitting. This most likely is I won a car, okay? But it could also mean a car hit me, okay? But we're going to give a sentence just after in a bit that is a better sentence.
車が当たった。
Okay? So here it's a car hit. But it could have been I won a car too. Okay? What's this one?
天気予報が当たりませんでした。天気予報が当たりませんでした。
Now, if you're really paying attention, you might be able to figure this one out if you remember what tenki yoho is. So we're trying to go through all 3, right? 1, hit, and to be correct.
天気予報が当たりませんでした。
Atarimasen deshita. All right. The weather forecast wasn't correct. Good job, Sonar D. Rusty Roach. Good job. Yes. Japanizer, it would be weird to say the weather forecast didn't hit. Not incorrect, though. We do say that. Not for that sort of things. When my daughter was a cheerleader, if they had no mistakes, we would say they hit. They said they hit 0. I don't know what the 0 was. Like 0 deductions maybe. All right, moving on. All right, now we're going to do ni ataru, but we're going to use that ga that we just used before. We're going to combine them, okay? So look at this one.
膝がテーブルに当たった。膝がテーブルに当たった。
Look at that kanji. You want to know what's cool about this kanji? While you're thinking about this, while people in the stream are giving me the answer.
膝がテーブルに当たった。
We talk about this in Kanji from Zero, book 2, I believe. But this is actually meat. It looks like moon. The meat radical, the flesh radical, looks like moon. So many body parts have this radical in it. You kind of can almost guess it's a body part if you see this radical. It's actually flesh though. Okay? Kind of fun. So what is hiza? Yes, Mark. I hit my knee on the table. Yeah. Hiza got my table, my knee hit the table.
膝がテーブルに当たった。
Okay? My knee hit the table. First of all, I didn't do it. It happened, okay? It happened. This is not a verb that you can do the action of. You can't ataru something. Does that make sense? You can katsu because you're trying hard, but you can't ataru. It happens to you. It's passive. Okay? So you're walking along and boom, your knee hit the table. Oh, hiza ga table ni atatta. Ah. Okay? What's this one?
車が壁に当たった。車が壁に当たった。
Now, this is a good sentence. This ataru can never be win because we have kabe. Kabe means wall.
車が壁に当たった。
The car hit the wall. Got it? All right. Moving on. All right. Here we go. Some bonus usage. Here we go. What is it? We're going to rapid fire go through these.
ギフト券が当たりました。ギフト券が当たりました。
Giftoken just means like a gift certificate. I won a gift certificate. What's this one? Now, there's that note. You didn't win. You weren't trying to win. You didn't like beat somebody. You just won. It doesn't mean you couldn't be like sending off postcards or calling every 3 minutes to the radio station and then because of your effort you won, but it's more random chance than effort, right? Katsu is to beat an opponent. Think about it that way, okay?
ボールが頭に当たって痛いです。ボールが頭に当たって痛いです。
Now you have to remember what this te form is doing here. It's showing a causation. It's like this thing happened and as a result this, right? It's also showing an order of thing. This happened and as a result this, right? It hurts because a ball hit my head. A ball hit my head and it hurts would also be a good example, a good answer.
ボールが頭に当たって痛いです。
You guys are doing great in the chat. I'm not ignoring you. Just trying to get through these so we can get to the translation and work that I want to do on the advice. Here you go. What's this one? This is a hard one. I'm going to look at the chat.
火が当たる場所に行きましょう。火が当たる場所に行きましょう。
What does that mean? What does heat mean? Heat. What does basho mean? If you know these, you might be able to figure it out. 日が当たる場所. You might have heard like the noun version of this before. Hiatari. You might hear like you're buying a house or you're looking at a house to rent or an apartment, and maybe the real estate lady says, この部屋はですね、日当たりがすごくいいので、日当たり. What does that mean? Let's go to a sunny place? Yes. Yes. Very good, Samzer. Let's go to a sunny, like directly what I wrote, okay? So, hi ga ataru just means, hi means day, but it also means the sun, the sunlight, right? So, hi ga ataru basho is a place where the sun hits good, right? A sunny place. Hi ga ataru basho ni ikimashou. I told you a little bit tricky, right? All right, next one. Now we already had a similar sentence to this, but now it's just kyono in the front.
今日の天気予報は当たりませんでした。
Okay, what does that mean? Should already know this.
今日の天気予報は当たりませんでした。
It's just today's weather forecast isn't accurate. All right, now we're going to go on to another verb. Let's do it.
捨てる。
Now, let me ask you. What is the chance that this is an iru eru verb? Is it irueru or regular? If you've never seen this verb before, is there a chance that it's irueru? Or is it's not possible that it could be irueru? Okay, Japanizer says 50-50. Okay, Noya says could be. A lot of people saying irueru. Now, if I didn't know Japanese and I just learned this rule, I'm telling you right now, anything that has irueru sound on it, I'm assuming is irueru. I think that's a safe way to go. There are some verbs that rhyme with iru and eru, like hashiru, to run, hashiru, but that's hashirimasu, okay? But most of them are not. Most of them are, you're going to find out a lot of them are iru-eru, okay? In our books, we call the ones that look like iru-eru, we call them iru-eru exceptions, but that's not really a thing. We made that up. That's really just a regular verb that looks like an iru-eru verb. We call it a exception, but it's not an exception. Japanese people don't even know what that is. Iru-eru exception, no, it's not a thing. It isn't. But it's a way for you to understand that even though it looks like an iru-eru, it's not, okay? So this means to throw away.
捨てる
And it is indeed iru-eru. So you have to say, I will throw away is stemasu. You drop the ru. And this is, again, let me remind you, it's been a while. This is why in Japanese they call it ichidan. It's one step. And the one step that you take is you drop the ru and then you add your stem, okay? Or your stem? No, you add your ending, sorry. So stemasu, I will throw away. Stetai, I want to throw away. Stemashita, I threw away, okay? If we want to say, let's throw away, it would be ste plus yo. Drop the ru and say yo, add yo. But for other verbs that are regular, they use the hiragana chart. So let's just take let's take iku. So iku, let's do with a. Iku becomes ikanai. A form plus nai means I won't go. Iku by itself, let's go to the i. Ikimasen, all of those, e form. Iku, is just the casual form. Iko, plus o, so it's o form plus u is what we just did with, which was steyo. Iko means let's go. It's volitional. It's o form plus u. That's a pattern that works for every single regular verb, okay? With the exception ones that end directly in u. Now, and then the final one is F form plus something. F form plus ending is for all of the potentials, okay? But for verbs like this, it's just dropped through once. It's just one thing. There isn't 5 possible steps, okay? All right. I think I've said that a lot. I think you guys get it. If you want to look to figure out more about that, just look at course 3. We talk about it. Okay. So we're going to throw away something. The thing that you're throwing away is marked with the object marker O. And if you're going to throw into a place in like oh man, look where that su ended up. It's above the ru. Sorry about that. That should be way over here. So to throw into a place is ni, okay? Into a place. This is an easy one.
ゴミはゴミ箱に捨てましょう。ゴミはゴミ箱に捨てましょう。
Now I did just say the thing that you're throwing away is marked with O. I did say that, right? But here we're saying, hey, trash, what about it? Let's throw it into the garbage can. Originally, the first person to make this PowerPoint is Kanako. Okay, she's in Japan. She's our main language teacher. And she had this exact sentence. I changed it to O. I was like, I want to show them the O. And my wife, when she approved my final format, she's like, no, that should be gomiwa. So they like to say trash, let's throw it away. They're trying to stress on that trash. So you could you say gomi o gomibako ni shitemashi? Yes, you could. But they just like to use the wa there to show the stress on it.
ゴミはゴミ箱に捨てましょ
So that might be something you say to somebody, and I think this is why it's stressed. They throw the trash on the ground like, hey, that trash, let's put it in the garbage can. A little bit of a stress, all right?
う。ゴミはゴミ箱に捨てましょ
I really love when I make a change and it gets changed back. Because even me, I'm like, you got to use O here. I'm thinking you got to use O. Nope. All right, moving on.
う。ボトルを川に捨てました。
I had such a bad sentence here at first, and I was told, I was absolutely overruled, that I cannot talk about kittens in this particular sentence. I thought, hey, it happens, right? Maybe they were on fire. I don't know. There was a reason to throw them into the river. Okay. Now,
ボトルを川に捨てました。
now I just want to remind you with these two particular sentences, every time we give examples here, we tend to, in Japanese from Zero, make it from our personal standpoint, where if I say, because we're not saying, watashi wa botoru o kawa ni shitemashita. We don't have to. We know that. We know that Japanese, if you already know who's talking, or if you already know the topic, you don't have to say a pronoun like that. This is how they would normally say it. And depending on the situation, it could mean he threw a bottle in the river. She threw a bottle in the river. I threw a bottle in the river. Okay? And it could even mean the bottle and a bottle. Japanese doesn't deal with those. It just knows what's happening in the conversation. That's why context is important. When you're translating, most important when you're translating, you have to know what was happening prior to that. All right.
ボトルを川に捨てました。
Yes, we don't want to throw any koneko into the river. We love them. But if they're on fire, it's your only option. Throw them into the river and hop in and save them. I just want to throw that out. All right, if there's no holes near you. Okay, what is this one?
まだ自分の夢を捨てたくないです。まだ自分の夢を捨てたくないです。
This is a good one. Some of you are thinking it. What I'm trying to show here is that up here, we're throwing away trash, a physical thing. Up here, we're throwing away a bottle, a physical thing. Here, what's the thing that we're throwing away? A dream. What about it? 自分の夢. My dream. My dream. What about it? 捨てたくないです. I don't want to throw it away. When? Not yet.
まだ自分の夢を捨てたくないです。
I don't want to abandon my dream yet. I don't want to throw away my dream yet. Okay? Maybe your dad's telling you got to get out of that band. You're 30 now. Get a job. All right?
お願いだから私を捨てないで。
Some of you have said this to a girl.
お願いだから私を捨てないで。
Some of you have said this to a boy.
お願いだから私を捨てないで。
Sounds probably more like this.
お願いだから私を捨てないで。
If you're a girl. All right. Please, I beg you. お願いだから. I beg you. Please don't throw me away. Don't throw me away. I'm begging you. Don't dump me. Okay. Now, there is a verb, write this in your notes, to break up, to cast someone off. It's furu. Furu. Okay. If you get broken up on, it's furareru. Right? So he might say, furanaide kudasai. Please don't furu me. Don't break up with me, okay? There's also wakareru, to break up. There's so many ways to say things. This one is another way to say it. Don't throw me away. Don't give up on me. All right. All right, here we go. Ready? Final one.
迷う。
Mayo. Okay?
迷う。
So we've got rice in here. We've got the road radical here.
迷う。
It means to get lost, to be perplexed, to be vexed is another way. Now, this perplexed, vexed thing, this is always a really weird thing to translate for me. This is one where you're going to have to choose the cooler English, okay? It is a regular verb. Now, any verb that ends in "u," any that ends in exactly in "u," this is why I don't like calling a verb an "u" verb. Because if you call something an "u" verb, and Genki does it this way, Take Him's Guide to Japanese does it this way, Japanese for Busy People, they all do it this way. I don't know who started it, but for some reason they all think it's a good way to do it. "U" verb, if you say that, you think it must be a verb that ends in "u," and you think a "ru" verb must be a verb that ends in "ru," okay? But any verb type can end in a "ru," and only a regular verb can end in "u." Now, "u" verbs, which is not a thing, is just a regular verb. And the only thing that's interesting about "u" verbs is if you ever want to say when you're moving up the chart, to say like don't do a thing, it's form plus nai, that has to go to a wa. We're going to see an example with that. So for example, I won't get lost. Mayo wa nai, not mayo anai. It's just harder to say. Mayo wa nai. That's the only exception, okay? All right. So this is E form, right? Drop. Sorry, not drop. E form, take the U, make it into its E form and add your stem. So, mayoimashita, I got lost, okay? All right, so you can get vexed or lost about something. Let's see what that looks like.
道に迷いました。道に迷いました。道に迷いました。
Easy one, right? Now, I want to hear how you would translate that because this is one where you're like, what are you going to say? I got perplexed on the street. I was vexed about the road. None of those sound natural. Okay. Chris Baker says, I got lost. Nice. I lost my way. Yeah. But none of those really mean that, right? That's not what that really means if you do a direct translation, but that is what it means. I got lost.
道に迷いました。
It's like I was looking at the streets and I got perplexed. I didn't know which way to go. What do we say in English? I got lost. That's where you have to take the meaning and translate it into in natural English sentence. Okay, natural translation. All right, here we go.
コンビニ弁当を買うとき、いつも迷います。コンビニ弁当を買うとき、いつも迷います。
Now, I want to say something about this. This example was written by Conical. And at first, I thought she made a mistake. And you might be thinking that too. Now, you have to understand, I've been speaking Japanese now. I started learning Japanese 38 years ago. I've been married for 26 years, 27 coming up, okay? So Japanese is a huge part of my life. I had never seen konbini bento. What? Don't you mean konbini no bento? No, they do it now. They say it now. Japanese, and I'm glad it happened because from the very beginning when you're learning Japanese, you know, I remember we were teaching gyaru moji, this type of writing that was done by younger girls on their phones. It became a trend to write things in a certain way. They don't do it anymore, but they did for a while. And Japanese changed, like even 20 years ago, there was all these big changes that happened. And then maybe 90% of them dropped off, and then you got things that remained. This is one that wasn't a thing. But I used to teach the students in the class all the time. We say, hey, you know, Japanese evolves, just like English evolves. There's things that we say in English that didn't exist 20 years ago. And this, I had never seen it. Konbini bento just means a convenience store lunchbox. And they're breaking the rule of taking a noun to modify another noun. You normally have to have a no in there. We teach that in level 1. We say, can you have two nouns together can you have two nouns together without a no? No. That's the rule. Like that's the rule that we've made. Can you have two nouns together without a no? No. Now I give one example in course 1. I say beef sando. That's not beef no sando. It could be a beef sandwich like that using no to make it a modifier, but we don't do it. It's just beef sando, chicken sando. These are common things, and that's the name of them. That's what's happening here. It's a common thing, and what is it called? It's called a konbini bento. Now, if we were talking about the lid of the box, then it would have to be konbini bento no futa. Then it's a no. The lid of the convenience store lunchbox. Okay, so that was a little bit new for me, and I was going to delete the sentence, and then I went to Twitter, I typed in konbini bento, and everyone is saying it. I looked on Google, and there's ads talking about the konbini bento at 7-Eleven. So it is common nowadays. If you have been learning Japanese for any decent amount of time, you'd be like, what's konbini bento? Okay, all right, what does this mean?
コンビニ弁当を買うとき、いつも迷います。
All right, Ghost278, the first one I happen to look at says, I always get perplexed when buying convenient bento. It does not mean convenient bento. It's convenience store bento. It's the convenience store lunch boxes, okay? I always take my time. This is what Conical translated it to. I always take time when I buy a lunch at the convenience store. Now, I would always say, I always struggle to decide which one I buy. I'm like, which one do I buy? It's always a struggle when I buy the convenience store lunch boxes. Like, which one? They all look so delicious. So that's how I might translate it. This is how Kaneko translates it, okay? I always take time. But that would be, to me, I'm more of a literalist. I would say, 時間をかけます. Okay?
コンビニ弁当を買うとき、いつも迷います。
All right. And we see that the thing we are buying is marked with O, right? All right.
大学に行くか就職するか迷っています。
This is a big one. It's a big life event right here.
大学に行くか就職するか迷っています。
I like that too, Jaewa Jung on the last one. I can't decide. Whenever I buy convenience stores, I can't decide, or it's hard to decide. This is, again, one of those examples where what makes sense in English? What sounds natural in English? It sounds weird to say, I'm always perplexed when I buy convenience store lunchboxes. It's just weird to say perplexed or vexed. Like, what are you confused at? It's a lunch. What are you, like, you're perplexed? Like, it's such a big word to say perplexed. Like, we would say, like, this is a perplexing problem. When the quantum state is not matching, but yet we're still getting a spin reversal, I'm perplexed. Why is that happening? That's what perplexed sounds like to me. Not when you're buying a lunchbox, you know? All right, again, what is this one?
大学に行くか就職するか迷っています。
All right, Jaewa Jung, who's probably Korean. 한국 사람이에요? 일본어 좋아하시니까. 잘하시니까. All right, so Jaewa Jung is really good at Japanese, it looks like. I can't decide whether or not to go to college. 대학에 갈까? 취직할까? 고민해요. That's the Korean version of that. So 大学に行くか就職するか. I believe I said that right in Korean. I'm hoping I did. 迷っています. Okay? So 大学に行くか means whether to go to college or 就職するか or to find a job. 迷っています. I'm undecided whether to go to college or get a job. Now look, 迷っています, it's in its ongoing present tense form. ています means it's happening right now. So you're perplexed at the very moment. You don't know. It's perfectly good to translate that as I'm undecided. No, I'm still thinking. I'm still debating it. All right. Cool. You use the wrong ne. It's got to be oi. Jaewa Jung, if you're talking about Korean. By the way, guys, I do have lessons in Korean over on the Korean from Zero channel. I'm very, very behind in making them, but if you want to at least learn how to write a bit, I do teach. We have really cool, fun workshops there also. Okay. Eventually, I'll get back to making them. All right. So great. I'm undecided whether I go to college or get a job. Next one. Final one for this verb.
どの車にするか迷っていたけど、やっと決めました。どの車にするか迷っていたけど、やっと決めました。どの車にするか迷っていたけど、やっと決めました。
What does this say? どの車にするか. Now, する, we learn, oh my gosh, way back in book 2. It's the to-do form, right? Are we really saying どの車, which car to do? No. する can mean cost, it costs, and it can mean choose. Even though cost has its own verb, and even though choose has its own verb with kimeru and kimaru, okay? Here it's to do which car, right? To choose which car. どの車にするか. Which car I will choose. 迷っていたけど. I was undecided, perplexed, vexed. But, けど, やっと, finally, 決めました. I decided.
どの車にするか迷っていたけど、やっと決めました。
Okay? All right. Chris Baker said, I couldn't decide what car to go for, but I finally chose one. Yep, I would take that as a good translation too. That's the cool thing when you get to the higher level Japanese. As long as you get the point across, you're pretty good. Okay? Don't gotta be a stickler for every word being in a sentence. All right, next thing. Back to our advice. Now, I've color coded them. We're going to talk about these blue ones in case you don't know them. Get your notebook out. These are words you might not know. Let's go one by one. What does this mean?
負けたときは泣かない。勝ったときは威張らない。
All right, so before we get the full thing, naku means to cry. Nakanai, don't cry. Ibaru means to boast or to brag. Ibaranai, don't boast, don't brag. So what does this first one mean?
負けたときは泣かない。勝ったときは威張らない。
It means when you have lost, don't cry.
負けたときは泣かない。勝ったときは威張らない。
Yes, and it could mean when I've lost, I won't cry or I don't cry. Yeah, it could mean that too. Right? It could just be general advice. Don't do this thing, okay? Okay, you're not going to do this thing. Katta toki, when you win, when you have won, ibaranai. Now, I'm gonna point out something here that is sometimes tricky when you come from English. In English, we might say, when you lose, don't cry. Now, that loss has already happened when you're crying. That's why in Japanese it must be maketa and not makeru. Makeru. Okay, it can't be makeru in this particular sentence. It has to be maketa because the loss has occurred. If you have occurred a loss, if you're going to do this very, literally translation, then don't cry. All right. But when you win,
勝った時は威張らない。
don't brag. All right. Next life advice.
宝くじが当たった時は喜ぼう。人に当たった時は謝ろう。
Now, we are using the same verb here in two different meanings, dictated only by this particle change. So let's look at these blue ones before we translate. Yorokobu means to be happy. Yorokobo means be happy. It's volitional. When you use volitional, the let's do form, it's a soft command. It's like saying, be happy. Yorokobo, let's be happy. Okay? And ayamaru means to apologize. Ayamaro means apologize. It's a very light command, okay? So what does this mean? Takarakuji? Anyone? Lottery.
宝くじが当たった時は喜ぼう。
So, let's be happy or be happy when you win the lottery. Be happy when you win the lottery using Ataru as win, but
人に当たった時は謝ろ
人に当たった時は but when you hit people, when you bump into a person, let's apologize. Same verb, different meanings, only purely on the particle. Kind of cool, right?
う。宝くじが当たった時は喜ぼう。人に当たった時は謝ろ
If you just remember these sentences, you pretty much understand how these work. Okay, here we go. Final life advice and then a special thing for you guys.
う。いらないものを捨てよう。必要なものは迷わないで買おう。
All right, so いらないものを捨てよう. We know that 捨てる means to throw away. We also know, because I briefly talked about it, the volitional. I did it on my own volition, the thing that you do on your own, your own, you thought to do it and then you did it. Steo means let's do. If you have an iru eru verb, you drop the ru and you add yo to make that, okay, for informal. Steo means let's. So, iranai mono o steo. But in this case, you could translate it as let's throw away things. What things? Iranai, that you don't need. Iranai means don't need, not needed. Unneeded things. Let's throw away things we don't need. Okay? And 必要なものは迷わないで買おう. Come on, if you don't know that, it's embarrassing. It means to buy. And O form plus U makes informal let's form. So it's let's, but remember it's also a soft command. So I could be telling you, go buy, okay? What are we buying? And how are we buying it? 必要なもの means necessary things. 必要 means to be needed. Okay? And it is a na adjective. If you ever have an adjective with two kanji in it, or all katakana, it is a na adjective. Did you know that? So 必要 is a na adjective. So it means in order for it to directly modify, it must have na. 必要なもの is necessary things. Now we have a wa. Here we have an o. And here we have a wa. Why?
いらないものを捨てよう。
Throw away things you don't need.
必要なものは迷わないで買おう。
But as for things that you do need, we're stressing. That's why the wa is used instead of the o. Kind of what we talked about earlier with the gomi. Okay? 迷わないで. Without vexing, without indecision. Don't even think about it. Buy it. If you need it, buy it. Without thinking about it. That's what that means.
必要なものは迷わないで買おう。
Yes. Noya V, this is bonus, but let's talk about it just for a second. Until I learned Korean, I did not know why there were na adjectives and why there were e adjectives. Then I learned in Korea, they have a similar thing. They have hada adjectives. They're just na adjectives. And all of their hada adjectives have, Koreans don't use Chinese characters like Japanese do, but they call them native Korean words or Sino-Korean words. Sino meaning Chinese. All of their Sino-Korean adjectives were hada adjectives, which are na adjectives in Japanese, and that's when I figured it out. Now, any adjective that comes from a foreign country like China or America, sexy. Sexy means sexy. If you want to say a sexy person, sexy na hito. So if you have an adjective that's in katakana, you know it's a na adjective. Every native Japanese adjective actually has an actual e. It might have kanji in it. It might even have two kanji in it. Like subarashi has two kanji in it. But if it ends with a physical e, hiragana, then it's an e adjective. And it can, what I like to call true adjectives, because it can be thrown right in front of a verb, okay? And I can give you an example, okay? A really quick one, which is really a good example to remember. If you have a beautiful woman, 美しい女, 美しい女, okay? 美しい女 or 美しい女性 to be a little bit more not crass, female, right? It has that physical e, and you can just say e, 女性 all together, directly with nothing in between. But what about kirei? Kirei ends in an e, but it's got two kanji. It's got two kanji. That came from somewhere else. Kirei na josei. Pretty woman, okay? Walking down the street. Michi ni mayoanai de. Don't lose your way. All right. Yes. Sonar HD, you nailed it. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next Japanese from Zero book workshop or lesson workshop, okay? Bye, guys. じゃあね